I have a friend who's been asking me, he's got little startup ideas and he's like, Skipper, can you do some research for me? I'm like, sure, buddy. What do you need? I need to know the TAM of this market. Uploaded the patent documents. Literally like 45 seconds later, download, send to him. And he's still talking about this. He's like, what's going on? What, how did, because he's used to paying $14,000 to market for the research report that comes 30 days later.
All right, we're back, episode 107. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. So for today's episode, we are going to give you 4 jobs that you can make over $100K a year in that are safe from AI. So if you've been online at all over the course of the past year, there's a lot of fear mongering, right? Where is AI going to steal my job or yours or my brother's or my sister's? And honestly, I think it may come for everyone. That's just my thesis. But that's probably an exaggeration, and there's going to always be things that are going to be safe. And so Jason and I went through the painstaking effort to give you 4 of those jobs that you can still make a pretty good living at. But before we get into that, and we will, I wanted to have Jason share with you something that I found very shocking that the AWS CEO just said.
The CEO, Matt Garman, right? He predicted that, now this was back in June of 2024. He predicted that AI could handle most coding tasks within 2 years, and that everyone would have to be shifting to non-coding roles. So that's a pretty bold statement. And so that was maybe it was a year ago, right? So 1 year into this, there was a little, we don't have all the authenticity, but there was a little spat on like a LinkedIn and a Twitter post that basically an AWS DevOps engineer posted that his team has been spending the last 4 months totally automating all of the DevOps production tasks, probably like 90%. And then right after that effort finished, they promptly laid off 40% of the DevOps team. So you can literally, he posted some of the stuff and then it got taken down. So, everything with a grain of salt. But it seems like a legit sort of inside view of wow, so here is DevOps, which to me, for people who may not know, those are the people that are making sure production's running and they get the code from the developers running in production. If there's any problems, they debug it. With their new systems, AI is detecting problems, it's looking at the code, it's fixing the code, and it's deploying the code without ever calling a human. So this was a space that I thought was kind of sacred for programming, because it's your crown jewels. It's being ran, all your production, and it's one of the first things that they're starting to automate. So they figure those jobs, I don't know, 300, 400K. Getting rid of 40% of them. Amazon's already saving a pretty penny there. So,
and you thought that DevOps engineers were going to be safe.
You would think it's sort of the most important piece, keeping things running. We wake up our own engineers in the middle of the night when there's a problem, and usually it's complex things that you have to debug in the code and hit an edge case and cause some weird problem. But now with the automation tool set inside of DevOps, combined with AI sort of monitoring and pulling the strings, that's it.
That's a good segue into 10 other jobs that are at risk to deletion or either significant reduction due to AI. So I have 5, and then you could give me 5. Sure. Number 1, and we're attempting this, is customer service representatives, right? They're going to be replaced by AI chatbots. Number 2, data entry clerks. As you could see, any kind of data entry or data analysis, those are jobs that are at risk for sure.
Toast.
Number 3, and if somebody solves this just in general, I don't want this to be solved by AI. I want this gone in general. But I hope AI doesn't take these jobs. I hope that they take the jobs and then we find a way to kill this as a thing that happens. Because I don't know if if I'm anything like you or most people, freaking telemarketers are insane. And my phone rings. I thank God that I have a Jersey phone number, and they do that kind of spoofing where when someone calls you, I think that there's a piece of technology. You'll have to forgive me. I don't know what it is, but there's a piece of technology that the auto dialer will spoof your the first 3 digits of your phone number, so you think it's someone local calling you. And so I get all these 732 numbers call me. Now, no one from 732 that I don't have their number calls me. So every
What
time
about
that I
your
see that,
parole officer? Are they calling you?
yeah,
or-
well, no, luckily I got out of parole. No, just
good
kidding.
behavior. Good job.
Yeah, I'm off on good behavior. Yeah, they let me run a company now. I did really well. No, but telemarketers. So telemarketers, I definitely see the outbound sales calls being kind of cannibalized. Paralegals and legal assistants. Anything that's not high level legal work, I could see getting kind of automated away. And then lastly, accountants and bookkeepers. I actually have a friend, actually my best friend in the world. He got his CPA, and he left the accounting world, and he runs an internet company now. And he has some CPA friends that have their head in the sand about this. And my buddy, as an ex-accountant, sees the writing on the wall, and he's like, an accountant is not a real job. Like in 5 years, that's not going to be like an at-scale job. Certainly not one that you're going to command like a decent salary for. And so those are my 5. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And I'll double down on the accountant. Anything where the data sits in a place and then you need to know stuff about it, like those are done. Here's one for the real world, so to speak. The robots are coming too, that we're putting AI in there. So I think taxi and delivery drivers, that whole sort of gig, group is just going to be chipped away more and more and more. 5 years from now, it may be nearly gone. And then, bank tellers. So,
Really? You think bank tellers?
yeah. Well, here's the thing. You've got an ATM machine which lets us sort of drive things. I do think that once the capabilities are there, being able to ask questions and sort of get to a wider set of data and understanding is going to bring more automation. So, yeah, bank tellers. Let's go. And then up next, I would have like medical transcriptionists. You know what I mean? Like, so you're taking data and just kind of transforming it a little bit. So those days are done. I can hear foreign language in my earbuds as I walk the streets of London. Right. So the next would be copywriters and content creators. Yeah. Right. Like first off, that's kind of 2, but first the copywriters, like done. And content creators, you're already seeing people starting to orchestrate avatars or people, using their own voice and image, but then, just typing up documents and spinning them in there. So the content creation is exploding with AI. So then next up I'd have, for my last one, market research analysis. So if there's any kind of like go-to-market plan, or I need to know what the TAM is here or whatever, man, forget it. So done. So I have a friend who's been asking me, he's got little startup ideas, and he had no idea. So he's in his probably 60s. He has no idea about the AI world yet. And he's like, Skipper, can you do some research for me? Like, sure, buddy. What do you need? I need to know the TAM of this market and then the 5 major competitors. And, here's my patent that I applied for. And how does it, defend against this space? Sure. Uploaded the patent documents, wrote the prompt, hit enter.
Right to Manus or no?
45 seconds later, download, send to him, and he's still talking about this. He's like, what's going on? What, how did, because he's used to paying $14,000 to market for the, the research report that comes 30 days later. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest with you, I guess I've used deep research on Gemini. I've used it on ChatGPT, but my favorite one is actually Manus. I feel like Manus does the best job. Yeah. So like, I guess market research analyst, one that I would put on here. And when I was doing the research for the episode, I actually saw that it wasn't on the list, but like a consultant, like a McKinsey Bain consultant.
The $500,000 PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, those are done.
Yeah. But then the AI didn't agree with me. So it was very interesting. So Grok was telling me that the consultants may be okay because they're just going to work more efficiently and they're going to be allowed to do higher order things. And to that I call bullshit, to be honest. I was like, what higher order things? What, you're going to think through the problem like more
Right.
efficiently than a compute system that can run 1,000 simulations in an hour? And like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that they're done.
I think I'll give them like 2 out of 10 there and say what could happen is like the field consolidates instead of, having 10,000 of these people. Now there's only, 200 and they can do massive amounts of throughput. But even that's a stretch because I have no experience in market research really. And I delivered, professional grade inside of a minute. So like, why do you need a middleman or an aggregator to do that?
I'll give you the financial economics of it. So the average salary of an entry-level business analyst that works at something like McKinsey, base salary plus bonus, about $130,000 to $148,000. If you're an associate, you have an MBA, you have some experience, you're commanding around $240,000. And then if you're an engagement manager, you're getting anywhere in total comp from $275,000 to $477,000. You're going to have to put that value against Manus for $39 a month. And if you can consistently tell me that you can put together better research and think through problems for $39 a month, like, come on. I mean, I understand if you have something really complex and there's layoffs and corporate restructuring, and maybe that's really but I mean, we've worked at places where they've gotten a $300,000 PowerPoint. And then I was like, damn, you could have given me $20,000 for that. I would have done all that work. I literally said this to you, right? I was like, I would have done all that work on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, had it polished for you on Monday, and I would have stood in front of the room and gave you a great speech, and I would have charged you $20,000. I'm not even going to get to do that anymore because eventually Manus is going to have a synthetic avatar that pops up and actually talks to you and then makes a podcast version or makes social clips so you can consume it. I mean, how are you going to compete with that? Anyway, I don't want to get to, dish on consultants because we have consultants friends. And then we also have consultants who listen to the show. And I don't
Well, the good news is too, I'll say this, like,
them.
yeah, the AI is not taking over the world today. Like we're on the kind of edge because we're deep in tech. So there'll be this period of grift that can happen in a way that never was enabled before, where these people can still charge $300,000 and really actually do it in a couple of days. But eventually the secret's going to get out to everyone.
Yeah. Like my mom doesn't know about these tools, even though I specifically, she was in the hospital. This makes me sound like a bad son, but it was for the right reasons. She was in the hospital and I was like, hey mom, you have to download Gemini. Like she's like hooked up to like, to the machines. I'm like, download Gemini. Makes me seem like a bad son, but she was fine. She was fine. Yeah. And so I basically got her to download. She doesn't even know these things like exist.
Sure.
And like, I talked to a bunch of my family members and like, it's in the tech world, it's like AI. But for most of the world, this stuff isn't even mainstream yet, which is like we're still in the first inning, which is insane. Okay.
And I will say I'll add one more piece to that. I noticed today I searched Google and Google threw up some kind of pop-up. I didn't even read it. I'm sure it had something about AI and I was like, sure. Do you want to try it? I was like, sure. And it threw me out of the Google like prompt and website view to like a Chat GPT style, where it was Jim and I, and it's like doing that. So they're starting to tap into the world of the people who just might Google and know nothing about it. And maybe they know about that first blurb that happens from Google, but now they're going to start plucking those people and putting them over there. So the knowledge is starting to spread.
All right. Well, let's get into the meat of the show. We promised that we would give you 4 jobs that you can make $100,000 a year that are safe from AI. Jason, give me your 2, and then I'll give you my 2.
First, I'm going to ask everyone who's 31 years or older to put their fingers in their ear, because I'm sorry, this job is by law not for you. So we're going to talk to that group coming out of college, wondering what the heck are they going to do. Air traffic controller. Okay, now I'm going to shoot some stats at you. So the U.S. median salary is around 132K. Now that was back in 2023. So it's going to be good enough, right? It's going up, I promise. And essentially, there's a shortage that exists now, about 3,500 over the next 5 years, easy. And the requirements, you got to be 31 years old at the time of application or younger, because they're going to put some investment into you and they don't want you dipping out. And it is a little bit of a high stress job, right? Telling those planes where to go and where not to go. So the way you get there, you got to pass this exam. They have an online exam called the ATSA. And if you're selected after that, they take you to Oklahoma City for 3 to 5 months where they pay for you to be trained. And then after that, it's like a little bit of tour of duty. You basically get assigned for up to 3 years to some station in the U.S., some air traffic control tower that you'll go work to. You can transfer between. But basically, they kind of tell you where to work for the first 3 years, and then you're like free agent and you can do what you want. But that's zero investment on your part in terms of dollars, because they pay for all the training. So that's my first one for you.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a super good one. I mean, anything that your entry salary is going to be, it's not just $100,000. $132,000 for someone in their 30s is a legit salary.
Yeah.
Super legit.
Entry level. Yeah.
Yeah. Entry level. Yeah. Oh, that's a really good one. Okay. So I'm going to give you one where it's going to take you a little bit of time to climb to 100 grand, but the lifestyle that you're going to get to enjoy on that climb is going to be very good.
I like this. Okay.
And anybody can do this. It just so happens that it kind of slants towards people who are more mature in their career. So I'd probably say the average age of this person is probably in their 40s or 50s. But if you want to make $100,000 a year and you love travel and you want to build your own schedule, you want to be your own boss, and you like staying in hotels for free, a meeting planner is going to be an excellent job choice for you. So, and it's going to be super safe from AI. So let me explain for those of you who don't know what a meeting planner does. Companies, the meeting and events industry is huge. It's worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And that's just in the United States. And so companies don't have the internal expertise or the bandwidth to put on their own meetings. And when you think meeting, think like an event, an incentive trip, a team offsite where a whole company gets together and does the whole hoorah-rah thing, right? Meetings need meeting planners. And this job for the foreseeable future, and I would argue probably forever, is actually never going to be done by AI. Parts of it may, but the whole thing, it's too human to human based. It's like giving someone a haircut, right? Like maybe there could be a robot barber, but like I'll take Jorge, right? That's my guy, right? Shout out to the Jorge in Windermere. But a meeting planner, it's safe from AI. It's very human to human. And you can make $100,000 being a meeting planner. Now, how do you make $100,000 being a meeting planner? Typically, the pathway to becoming a meeting planner, you could start very easily. There's not a lot of like credentialism to get started. So all you have to do is you have to get in touch with companies who have a need to plan a meeting. And then you basically can get hired by that company, and you could earn money from basically booking that company's meetings. Now, what most people do is they'll join an association, and it works very much to how like realtors work, where you could join a brokerage and then you operate under their kind of umbrella. And typically the way that meeting planners earn a living is they make 10%, between 7 to 10% on hotel commissions. And that money is typically split with your brokerage. Some do 50-50, some do 60-40. But if you sell about $2 million worth of hotel room nights, which could be a lot of small programs, it could be one very large one. But if you can find a way to sell $2 million worth of hotel room nights, you could make roughly about $100,000. And so,
Nice.
and what you get in the process is, because you have something that hotels want. Hotels want to meet meeting planners, right? Because hotels want corporate business because it's very lucrative. And so if you're a meeting planner, and my meeting planner friends may get a little bit upset on me saying this, or like blowing the top off, but meeting planners get the best perks I think I've seen of any job. They get to stay at the nicest hotels, the nicest properties for free. Right? All in the hope that that meeting planner refers some of their business to that property. Now, it's a good deal for all parties, right? Like the planner gets a free stay. They get to learn about the property, the destination, and then the hotel gets the exposure. And do hotels book every single night out clean? No, right? They're not at full capacity every night. So if you're sitting at 85% capacity and you have 17 open rooms, why not give one away to a meeting planner so then they could bring their corporate group of 100, 200, or 300 to your property? So it's a very cool life. You get to travel. You could go to a lot of conferences for very cheap. You can stay in a lot of cool places for very cheap. And the pathway to $100,000 is doable. I will say, if you're starting cold with no network, probably pretty hard. But if you're someone who's worked in hotel group sales, the pathway from hotel group sales, do that for a few years, make some connections with companies who put on meetings, and then you go off, hang up your own shingle. And now, instead of that company working through you to book the Ritz-Carlton, they could basically still work through you, book that Ritz-Carlton or book any other property, and then you earn commission from the sale of those rooms. So it's a very cool job. You get to build your own schedule, similar to running a real estate. You get to be your own boss. So you don't have an upper limit to how much you can earn, but you also don't have any downside, because a lot of these jobs are actually commission only. And so it's one of the trade-offs, right, of it's commission only, but there's no cap on your earning potential as well.
Now, as a CTO of a travel company, one that's heavily involved in events, don't we also pay $5 per flight booked to referral partners? Isn't that another way for them to get a little revenue?
So one of the cool things about being a meeting planner is you have multiple income streams, and everyone knows about the room block commission hotel stream. But one of the ones that meeting planners are getting turned on to is, yes, you can partner with us at Allfly and then earn a per commission for every flight booked. It's one of the nice ways that you can just earn extra money on top of your hotel room revenue.
Okay, we'll end that commercial segment of our show today. But
yes,
I'll add one more thing. Yeah, as sitting sort of outside the sales and outside of that sort of world, but I know, Kenny, being in our sales, you happen to attend a lot of events and stuff like that. And I just feel like I get a constant stream of like this party on the beach, this party on this beach, and it's just like, not only is it traveling everywhere and just, interesting places, but it's really is kind of a party atmosphere. And then on the last day, okay, let's sign the business.
Yeah, no. As you guys know, like for those who listen to the show, me and Connor basically built our referral network from 0 to over 100 plus meeting and event companies. And we did so primarily from going to conferences. And you're exactly right. It's typically these conferences in which the meeting planners go for free, which is cool. So they're always held in cool places like Curacao, London, River Cruise, and Paris. Like, we've done them all, right? But one of the really cool things that I will say is that when we were building that referral network, just me and Connor in 2 years visited 38 different cities together. And you're laughing because you know, like all the stories of typically how the days are structured for like a lot of these is you do one-on-one 10-minute style meetings, like kind of like professional speed dating. And the bell rings and you go and you do another demo. So it's a really capital efficient way to do 40 demos in 2 or 3 days. And then in the afternoon, there's usually some kind of like group activity for like bonding and connection. I put that in air quotes and I'll leave it at that. And then sometimes for some of the programs, there's dinner. So you like get to share a meal and have dinner and sit down with these people. And so, and then sometimes the dinners are on a beach, oceanside in Maui, which you can't complain about, right? So, like I'm saying, a meeting planner it's hard, but it's a very charmed life, and there are a lot of really cool perks.
I'll go with my second one, right? So I had my air traffic controller. Second one up, I'm going with management and program analyst, which sounds like one of the things that we just said we're going to retire, some kind of analyst, right? Due to AI, but this is different. This is inside of the Department of Homeland Security, which whether or not you've been paying attention, they've got a sizable budget at least lately. They're going to be doing a lot of things. Some of them you may or may not agree with, but what you can agree with is that if you need a job, there's going to be billions of dollars spent over the next year in that place. And the management and program analyst, what's cool about that is it accepts a broad range, so no range or no age extension or restrictions at all, a broad range of ages. And it also has multiple entry points. So you can basically take your comparable experience in your life, whether you're just graduated or whether you've held several jobs. And when you go to work, you're actually working for the government. So they have these GS ratings. I think it goes from like 7 to 15, and they do some math on your experience, and out pops your number. So it's a place that's going to explode with growth, and a place that I think will be protected. Government isn't always the first to adopt AI, so I don't think that the general structure of the way the government's going to work is going to change for a while. And what do you do as this person? You basically run mini projects. So they want to build a building, install some hardware, some detection hardware, or whatever it might be, wherever it might be. They need people basically running those projects. So again, that kind of face-to-face, getting the real thing done in the real world, you got to have someone making sure that everything's happening properly. So,
and that's a good one too, because when you think about it, government jobs are typically safe, right? And you may be thinking, oh, what about Doge? The government's huge. It only grows, right? It's not shrinking in any respect. You may see layoffs here and layoffs there. The government just got funded for like what, $2 trillion more dollars? It's not shrinking, it's growing. And those jobs are safe and that money's there.
Totally agree. And Doge did a great job of like trying to cut spending and things in active programs, but wholly unsuccessful about going to the faucet inside of Congress and changing what the amounts that come out. You're right. It only has grown and continues to grow. So at least for the foreseeable future, a solid space to get a paycheck.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. For the last one, my job that you can make $100,000 a year and have a pretty cool life, be outside, and possibly live by a beach is be a jet ski operator. So I was thinking about this of like, what has been cool for the last 30 years and what will continue to be cool for the next 30? Riding a jet ski. It has been cool. It's cool today. It'll be cool tomorrow. It's going to be cool in the future.
Right.
So a jet ski. And then I was thinking, okay, if I have a jet ski, what is the formula to making $100,000? So I actually have this sketched out for you. Okay. So let's say that I have a goal. I'm like, you know what? I want to make 6 figures because in most places, 6 figures leads you to like a pretty good life. All right. So in order to get $100,000 worth of net profit, here's what I would need. I need a fleet size of 5 jet skis. Now, you may ask, how much is going to be 5 jet skis? Jet skis run anywhere from like used like 5 to 10 to 12 grand. So you can generally take out like an SBA loan because they're a hard asset, and you could get most of the way there. So let's just say that you have enough capital to eventually you get to 5 jet skis. Maybe you just start with 2. But let's say that you get to 5 jet skis, and from there you want to make $100,000. Let's assume that wherever you choose to do this, the peak season is about 32 weeks. That means on average, there will be about 32 weeks that people are going to be out there, and that those 5 jet skis can be rented on average for 4 hours a day for 6 days a week. So I'm giving you a little bit of wiggle room too. It doesn't have to be out for the entire day, and we're going to take a day off, right? We're going to be like the Greeks. We're not going to work on Mondays. Right? I grew up in Jersey, so the diners are always closed on Mondays, right? Okay. So 5 jet skis at 4 hours a day, 6 hours a week. That means, and you're going to do about $100 per hour. So 5 skis, 4 hours per ski, $100 per hour, 6 days a week for 32 weeks. That equals a grand total of $384,000 of revenue. Okay. Now that's just peak season. Now, if that's good enough for you and you want to take off for the rest of the time, great. But I know our listeners are hustlers and they love money. So they're going to also do some off-peak stuff. Okay.
All right.
Now you're going to have to move to Florida or California for this. That's the news flash, but it's a good life out here and down here, or out there and down here. Yeah. So off peak, if you live somewhere that can handle off peak, let's say that you get only 1.5 hours per day and you're only going to run it 4 days a week. You're just going to do Thursday through Sunday. That would net you on the same kind of time frame, 5 skis, 1.5 hours per day at $100 per hour, 4 days a week for 16 weeks. That gives you $48,000 in revenue. Now, who's going to man this? The labor is going to be fairly cheap because you could get a bunch of college kids to kind of like pass the keys, let people go have fun. So overall, if you want to run a little jet ski business in your sleepy beach town, you could execute on the numbers that I just gave you, you would make about $432,000. Now, that's your total revenue. You're going to have some operating costs, right? So you're going to have some staffing, you're going to have fuel, maintenance, insurance, docking, marketing, maybe one part-time or seasonal staff member. I did all the math so you don't have to. That's going to come out to about $100,000. On the low side, maybe 150, 170 on the high side. So estimated net profit on the high side, 332. On the low side, let's go to about $250,000. So if you could find a way to get 5 jet skis and move to Florida, you could make about $250,000 a year in profit running a very small mom and pop business.
You may have sold this too good. I'm gonna be looking for some jet skis soon.
Now the market's crowded. You may have to buy and consume. But honestly, to be candid, my assumption, and I haven't done any research outside of just doing this for the show, but I would assume that there are a growing number of businesses like these that are run by aging entrepreneurs or small business owners. And that these businesses, I bet you that there are businesses like these water sports businesses that are up for sale, to be honest.
You're 100% right.
There's so many business owners that are retiring. It's crazy. We just saw a travel agency for sale come across our desk, and it's going to sale. Will probably sell for between 13 to 20 million. And it's just it's a great business. It's been run for 2 decades, and it's going to sell for, probably call it 15 mil. And it's just being sold because the gentleman who has run the business wants to retire. He's put in his time, he's built it, and he's like, all right, I want to go and start another jet ski company, something to keep his time. No, but like, I bet you that if you really wanted to look and you wanted to skip all like the building the website and incorporating and insurance, I bet you can find one of these businesses to buy too. And this is cool because like this will never ever be run by AI in our lifetime. Like you probably can't have robots on the beach because all the sand is going to get in the gears and stuff. So like you're safe. Like you literally will be safe.
Yeah. And And you might consider swapping out one or two of those jet skis. You got to have that jetpack thing that you can ride. That's
Oh,
like,
dude.
and it's attached to the jet ski, right?
We did it in Curacao first. Yeah. So exactly. So,
Okay. How much was that? Huh? I bet that was
you
a
know
little
what?
bit of money in a short time too.
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes. I think that they were so enamored that they just did it for, I think we were out there for like an hour. Matt, I'll put the clip into the show. Matt, if you want to pull up the clips of Connor just falling over and over again, we actually did this in Curacao, and I want to say it was over $100 per hour, or for like half an hour. But it was so cool and so novel, and that experience, and like, that one's cool because someone has to go on a jet ski to power you being on that thing. And so someone's out there coaching you on it.
Okay.
And I forget it's flyboarding.
Yeah.
There it is.
There you go. Look at that.
Flyboarding. Yeah. And so, yeah, if you add flyboarding in there, you can charge a premium. So yeah, I would say water sports. I mean, and you're talking about $75,000 worth of startup costs.
And I would also add, it's a totally different business, but I had an uncle who owned a business, and the way he sold it was effectively letting the guy take over and taking a share of the revenue sort of in the rears for a while. So like, even if you don't have upfront capital, there's sometimes ways to structure a buyout.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good point. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, those are your 4 jobs. If you do start one of these jobs and you did it from this podcast, let us know. hello@travelnerds.co. Drop us an email, send us a DM on Instagram. We'd be super interested to find if anyone actually did. Like if you had a jet ski company and you did it because of the show, that'd be really, really cool.
That would be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We might
Very,
sponsor
very
a jet ski. I don't know.
Dude, do not. This is your second show. Do not be committing us to sponsoring a jet ski.
I said might. I said might.
Yeah, might. Okay. We'll put it in the show notes.
We'll check with legal.
We'll check with legal, which is ChatGPT. So, but okay, cool. Well, yeah, that's probably about time for us. We've been talking for 45 minutes or so. So if you start the business, let us know. If you have anything that you want us to dive into or to talk about, drop us an email at hello@travelnerds.co. And then stay tuned. In the next few weeks, we're going to have 1 or 2 interviews with 2 people that are very, very cool. I don't know exactly when they're going to be published. We have to still do the interviews, but they're 2 guests that I am like super excited about.
Ooh, right.
One that you've probably seen on Twitter like a ton.
Wow.
Or X now, and very, very cool. So I'm very excited about the next 2 interviews, but you should be planning on hearing from us in another about 2 weeks or so. And until then, later, nerds.